Hey everyone. Okay, so I work a lot with persons who are still married, who are involved in intimate partner violent relationships, and a topic that comes up often is, have I been sexually abused by my partner? And basically what it means is if you have been forced to have sex without your consent, then yes, that is the simple answer. And that is often very shocking to the person because we don't often think that, or many people don't think that we can be sexually abused when we're married, or we don't think that a couple would be engaging in non consensual sex. But this happens, and unfortunately, it happens very often. So, what are some ways that I personally have seen when working with someone that this has occurred? So I was working with someone, and they let me know that that while they were getting in and out of the shower, getting undressed, and while they were in the shower, their partner would come in and demand sex, saying, "Well, you are naked, so you must have wanted the sex," and then would proceed to rape them while they were in the shower. And so I'm just going to say that just because your partner is naked or bathing themselves, this is not consent to sexual contact. And even if you are married and this person believes or is telling you that we're married, so when you're naked, this means that you are consenting to sex, that is not true. Just because someone says it or believes it and is telling you what they believe, it does not make it true. So you are well within your right to set up a boundary and a barrier, to lock the door, whatever you need to do to protect yourself while you are simply trying to take a shower or get dressed or undressed in the morning. The act of simply being not clothed is not consent to sex, even while married. So another way that I have seen non-consensual sex occur in marriage is if the person is not interested in sex, then the other partner will begin stonewalling them, will refuse to speak with them, or throw items around the room, or slam doors, or withhold things from the partner in punishment for not being interested in sex. What then this creates is coercion or manipulation, which is sexual abuse. So then the partner knows, well, I had better consent to sex next time so that way this person doesn't act in this way. That is not consent. When you are being forced to have sex so that way another person doesn't engage in more abuse towards you, in verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, by harming you in any way, that is not consent. Okay? All right, so another way that I see non-consensual sexual contact occur in marriages is if a person beforehand is verbally or manipulative in some way, harmful, physically abusive, financially abusive, and the partner is hurt, right? So the partner is hurt and says, "You've hurt me in this way, you have offended me in this way." And then as a result, in order so that way the person doesn't have to apologize, they want to have sex, make up sex, without having to apologize, without reconciling the relationship in order to make the person feel comfortable, safe, emotionally safe, before engaging or demanding sex. So this is a form of sexual abuse because the other person is not there, right? They're not comfortable with it. They're feeling offended. They're feeling hurt. So sexual abuse, when there has already been abuse, is more abuse, right? That's just putting more abuse on top of it. So if you haven't reconciled your wrong before demanding sex, or thinking that sex is somehow going to fix it, or just gloss over the offense that you already did, that's more abuse. Because what's happening is they just want to make sure that they still have access to you. They want to make sure that you're just going to forgive their offenses without them having to reconcile or change their behavior in any way. And they're going to do this with sexual contact. That is not consenting to sex. Okay, that's just putting more abuse on top of abuse and wanting you to just let them know all is well. It's a form of manipulation, is what it is. That's sexual manipulation. All right. So I have this amazing book that I love so much. I'm going to put my affiliate link to Amazon down below. It is called Daily Wisdom for Why Does He Do That? Encouragement for Women Involved with Angry and Controlling Men by Lundy Bancroft. And I want to read a little bit of this to you. Now, I know it says encouragement for women involved with angry and controlling men. This can also be women who are abusive to men. Sexual abuse can occur and sexual manipulation can occur in a marriage, women towards men. I have seen it. I would say it happens more often the other way. However, it is possible. So when I do read this and I am reading male pronouns, please know that this can go the other way. But I want to just read a couple of passages to you that deal with sexual abuse in a relationship for you to see how this happens. And Lundy Bancroft, if you ever see this, if anyone's ever able to tag him, know that this is in my program, my Bible. I love it. It's wonderful. I recommend it to everyone. And many people have purchased this book as a result of the work that you have done. It's awesome. All right, here we go. Page 51. He wants sex at all the wrong times. Verbal abuse is not sexy. Intimidation is not sexy. Public humiliation is not sexy. Ruining the day is not sexy. So why does he think that a short period of time, say a couple of hours after he's been treating you terribly, could somehow be a good time for sex? He really thinks that this is when you are going to be in the mood? Not exactly. The problem is that he isn't thinking about you at all. He's only thinking about himself. He wants sex to reassure himself that he hasn't driven you away and that he still has access to your body. He thinks that if he can get you to have sex, that also means he has erased from history the destructive acts he did earlier. And he wants to have sex because in some twisted way his ugly behavior made him feel close to you, even though it made you feel anything but. Because of the ways he's been tearing you down, it can get hard for you to say no to sex that you don't want. You may end up feeling like giving him what he wants is the only way to settle him down so that he doesn't launch into more abuse or even violence. He is the one whose reactions are unhealthy, not yours. The feelings you are going through are completely natural for a woman who has been demeaned and bullied. When he has sex with you following one of his incidents, that's a form of sexual abuse, even if you don't or can't fight him on it. Keep reminding yourself that the sickness is in him, not you. Sex after abuse is additional abuse. All right, and here's another one. The meaning of consent. Page 253. Today's topic can be a triggering one for many women, so you might want to take a couple of deep breaths. The question is what the concept of consent means when we are talking about sexuality. Sex is only sex when it's 100% voluntary, and that means your partner is using zero pressure, zero guilt tripping, zero dishonesty, zero telling you that it's your duty as a wife, zero keeping you awake, zero doing paybacks after the times you say no. Otherwise, what's taking place is sexual abuse, not sex. When we think of sexual abuse, we typically imagine either an adult violating a child or a man physically forcing a woman, but sexual abuse comes just as commonly in the form of a woman being pressured into unwanted sexual contact. Or maybe she did want to be sexual, but then the man bullied or manipulated her into particular sexual acts that she didn't want. The opposite of sexual abuse is consent. Consent means that you wanted the contact to happen, and you let the other person know you felt that way. Consent does not have to happen in words, but it is an active act. A woman shows her consent in how she moves her body, in the kinds of pleasurable sounds she makes, in the initiative she takes. If she just lies still and doesn't resist, that is not consent. Irresponsible men will say, well, she didn't say no, or she didn't fight me, after having sex with a woman when she obviously was not into it. These men are justifying rape. If you feel bad sometimes after sexual contact with your partner, consider whether you were truly a voluntary participant, even if you let him do it. He's still abusing you sexually if you didn't send him a message that you wanted what was happening. Being sure that you are fully consenting with no pressure from him is his responsibility. If I don't fully want the contact, what's happening is not lovemaking. All right, and I'll just read a little bit of this last one. Abuse is not sexy. Page 417. Being put down and called terrible names doesn't put you in the mood for lovemaking. Neither do rage, threats, or violence. A partner who is rarely loving or affectionate except when he wants sex, and who only cares about his own pleasure, isn't exactly a turn-on either. All right. I truly hope that you go and buy this book. I highly recommend it, by Lundy Bancroft. He is phenomenal, a phenomenal writer. I think that if you are in an abusive relationship of any kind, manipulation, it is really hard to see clearly of what's going on and the manipulation that has taken place that has really clouded you and messed with your self-esteem. All right, everyone. Until next time.